and our network of partners continue to bridge the gap, ensuring that mental health is not a privilege, but a right, not an exception, but a standard. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we are proud to stand beside partners who share this vision. Development agencies, government institutions, and community leaders who understand that true progress happens only when mental health is integrated into every sphere of human development. Because adolescent empowerment, mental well-being, and the fight against gender-based violence cannot succeed in isolation. They must converge in our policies, our systems, and our collective consciousness. This year's Conversation Conference 4 is therefore more than a dialogue. It is a movement. It is a rallying point for evidence, empathy, and engagement. It is where research meets reality, where stories spark strategy, and where ideas become action. As we begin, I invite you all to go beyond listening. Let us connect, challenge assumptions, and reimagine what inclusive, compassionate, and sustainable mental health can look like for our people here in Nigeria and beyond. To every expert, policymaker, academics, and advocates here present, it is a testimony that you share in this commitment. You are incredible partners and sponsors, namely Reconnect HDI, Plan International, International Rescue Committee, Red Aid Nigeria, CBM Global, Action Against Hunger, Synagogues, and the Leprosy Mission of Nigeria. We thank you very much for your unwavering commitment in this cause. I also want to commend the organizing committee of this conference for their exceptional professionalism in delivering this 4th edition. And to every participant, we thank you for lending your voice, your time, and energy in this discourse. Ladies and gentlemen, as we proceed, may our discussions be bold, our insights transformative, and our actions sustainable. Let this conference be a defining moment, one where awareness gives birth to action, and action builds a healthier, more compassionate Nigeria. Let today be a day of insight, collaboration, and renewed resolve. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, I once again want to warmly welcome you to this Conversation 040, where minds connect, voices matter, and transformation begins. Thank you very much, and I wish also all of us a very meaningful and impactful event. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, can we give a round of applause for the chairperson of Intersect Consortium? Thank you so much. We'd like to thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. And like she has said, this conversation, this platform exists just so we do not treat mental health as an afterthought. Mental health is very important to the existence of human beings, and that's the reason why we have a platform as important as this to bring in policymakers, to bring in key stakeholders, to bring in practitioners in the mental health space to be part of conversations as important as this. And that being said, I'm going to get into inviting some of our partners that are here present to kindly come forward and give us some goodwill messages. I'd just like to establish the fact that our time is already fast spent, so we're just going to be very quick and snappy with the goodwill sessions as much as possible, maybe a minute or two, just to say hello and to greet us and just to establish your messages, and then we can move on very quickly. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, at this point, I'd like to very quickly welcome on stage first the country director of CBM Global, Abdulaziz Musa. Please, can we give a round of applause as he comes to stage? Thank you.
Hello. Hello. Better. Good morning once again. My name is Abdulaziz Musa. I'm the country director for CBM Global Disability Inclusion. And in the spirit of inclusion, I would like to describe myself in case we have some blind people in the audience. I am wearing a brown hat, a green kaftan, and a team we deeply admire for their passion, innovation, and refusal to treat mental health as an afterthought. Thank you for bringing us together to push the boundaries of what's possible. At CBM Global, we've spent the last few years working alongside communities across Nigeria to make mental health care inclusive, rights-based, and community-driven. From supporting peer-led recovery models to strengthening health systems, our work is grounded in one simple truth. People are not problems to be solved. They are partners in change. And speaking of change, our work in neglected tropical diseases, NTDs, has also evolved. We've moved from treats and retreats to a more human-centered approach that listens, respects, and restores dignity. Because whether it's trachoma or trauma, care must be compassionate and not clinical alone. Now, I am thrilled to announce our upcoming partnership with Reconnect HDI, which is one of the affiliates of Intersect, on a new initiative which is titled Bridging the Gaps in Women's Health and Well-being in Benue State. This project will focus on improving access to mental health support, legal aid, and economic empowerment services for women and girls with psychosocial disabilities. And yes, we're doing it in what I will say or describe the CBM way, which is inclusive, participatory, and powered by lived experience. Let me end with a little nudge and perhaps a little bit of humor. To our policymakers, which are distinguished and graciously honored us today, institutions, communities. Mental health is not a luxury, and of course it's a luxury now because we do not have resources invested, especially public resources, invested in treatment. So the treatment is left to individuals, which is exorbitant. So if you are to access it, it's seen as a luxury because it's something left for the few privileged. It's not a luxury item on the shelf of development. It is the foundation. So let's stop treating it like the cousin who only gets invited to weddings and not to family meetings. Let's invest, let's include, and let's listen. Because when we center people, we build systems that heal, not just treat. Thank you, and let's keep bridging those gaps together. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Please, once again, can we give him a round of applause? And that was the country director of CBM Global. Thank you so much, Abdulaziz Musa. Thank you. And moving on very quickly, would like to call on our next partner, our next development partner here is from the International Rescue Committee, and the country director here is Dr. Tunde Ojay. Please, can we keep clapping for him as he comes forward? Keep clapping. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Distinguished National Rescue Committee, IRC. It is a great honor to be here once again as a partner of this transformative gathering, the Conservation Fund Conference 4.0. Our presence here today is not just a formality, it is a reaffirmation of our firm commitment to advancing mental health as a core pillar of humanitarian and development work. We're here because we believe mental health is not an afterthought. It is the foundation upon which resilience, recovery, and productivity are built. When people's minds are healthy, they can rebuild their lives, support their families, and contribute meaningfully to their communities. The RSC has witnessed firsthand in conflict zones, displacement camps, and crisis-affected communities how mental health and psychosocial support can restore hope where it seems lost. We have seen how a listening ear, a safe space, and a caring professional can help survivors of trauma find their strength again. This is why we continue to integrate mental health support across our emergency and recovery programs, because true healing goes beyond food and shelter. It reaches the mind and soul. I will share a personal story with you. About 3 years ago, a few of my colleagues were abducted. For the entire organization, I'm sure, we had to take psychosocial support to be able to go through it. But today I'm standing in front of you and I'm saying this is really something, it's real. And it's not just something that we look from a stigmatized view or lens, because it is real and it doesn't respect your status or who you are. And we need to make sure that we have those services available and accessible. Therefore, our support for this conference is both strategic and deeply personal. As we gather today, let us remember that mental health is everyone's business, from policymakers to practitioners, from CEOs to caregivers. Together, we must continue to push for inclusion of mental health in national budgets, in workplace policies, and in emergency responses. Let this conference not just be another meeting, but a movement that insists that no one, regardless of where they live or what they have survived, should ever be left without psychosocial support. RSC stands with all the partners here today in saying enough of the silence, enough of the stigma, and enough of neglecting mental health. It is a time for action, for accountability, and for collective investment. We can build a future where healing the mind is seen as equally important as healing the body, because there is no health without mental health. Thank you so much, and God bless you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Please, can we give him another round of applause? Thank you. There really is no health without mental health. Mental health is the foundation. Mental health is important. And that's the reason why the Conversation Conference takes place every single year, to ensure that we bring mental health issues to the fore. Please, I'd like to ask if we have a representative this morning from Action Against Hunger, who will be representing the organization very quickly for a goodwill message. But if we don't have a representative, we might just move on very quickly to the next agenda, as our time is already fast spent. Thank you all very much, our development partners, for taking the time to come here this morning. And now at this point, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to bring on stage one person who is very critical, one person who is very, very special when it comes to the organization of this conference, when it comes to discussions and conversations, as well as initiatives around mental health in Africa, in Nigeria most especially. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, this morning we're going to listen to the CEO's perspective very quickly. And at this point, ladies and gentlemen, I have the honor and the privilege to invite on stage the MD CEO of Intersect Consortium, who's also the founder of Reconnect Health Development Initiative. Is a consultant psychiatrist, a UK-based one at that. Is a medical director of Frisia Health UK, the first fully multidisciplinary private outpatient mental health service in the United Kingdom. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, if your hands are not busy this morning, I'd like you to put them together for Dr. Vincent Udinzi. As he comes forward, keep clapping. Keep clapping. This man is very important when it comes to conversations, when it comes to action around mental health. And we're so honored and so privileged to have him be one of us here in Nigeria. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Our chairperson, Senator Benego. Ladies and gentlemen, please permit me to stand on existing protocol. My name is Dr. Vincent Udinzi. Yes, I am the CEO of Intersect Consortium, but more importantly, I lead a team of people that are committed, dedicated, and are responsible for where we are today. I only sit at the top, but actually the work is done by the rest of my team, and I celebrate my team. For the last few years, I've always spoken from the heart, and today I decided heart. TCC 1.0 was about 4 years ago. The idea was really about getting us to start thinking collectively around issues about mental health, recognizing that then she is raped. Complex trauma happening amongst us
to our sisters and brothers, especially in the Northeast. You might not find a psychiatrist or a psychologist to go into the hearts of Ebonyi, but the people there need treatment. Has the time come for us to have the conversation around what type of training do people need? Is it time to start having a conversation with universities to say, listen, can we send these people to you for 5 months, 6 months and get a diploma so you can actually do some complex trauma work? Because a good number of times we do this work, but have we actually made the difference? That's what this conversation is all about. As we look at maternal health, as we look at adolescents, as we look at GBV, the conversation really has to be around how do we make a difference to this population. When someone is hurting, us trying to provide government intervention alone, provide justice, I feel justice will not be served if you do not even take care of the mental health of these traumatized persons. Here today, we have senior government officials, we have members of the public, we have representatives of organizations. What I ask of you today is not just for you to come and be a part of this event, because already by being here, you've shown commitment. There's plenary at the moment at Senate, but we have sitting senators sat here today, not because they're not needed elsewhere, but because they feel that maybe, yes, they have to be part of this conversation. But sir, I'm not only asking for the fact that you've committed to be here, sir, madam, sorry, but we also need to enlist you to be part of the drive to make a change. Somewhere out there is someone, a young girl, an adolescent, a mother, who is suffering, who's crying, praying to God that can difference come to me, can change to my life come. The only way this change is going to come is when you sat here present, decides to be a voice and look out for that person that nobody else is looking out for. There's something I call the accident of birth. Some of you woke up, looked up, and saw that your mother was a minister. Great. Father, senator. Great. Welcome, Senator Bent. But some of us wake up and look up. My mother sells tomato, I have no father. Just an accident of birth. So what if you here present was born into that family that had nothing? Your prayers will be that for those that have, let them do something for those that do not have. Ladies and gentlemen, the conversation about mental health in the workplace is an ongoing one. A lot of workers suffer. There's distress, there's stress, there's poverty. People can't get to work. Central Bank of Nigeria, as you remember, do you remember that a few years ago, some 10 years ago, Dana Airline had an air crash, remember? And a lot of people died. Central Bank of Nigeria had about 25 of their staff on that flight. The director of HR asked Central Bank of Nigeria, do we have an employee wellness program? Central Bank did not. The director of HR came from MTN South Africa. She was completely shocked that an organization as big as Central Bank of Nigeria had no program for its staff on mental health. He called me and I attended. My team went in, did the briefing for all the families. So the next question was going to be, Central Bank now should have an employee wellness program. You would think it would be commonsensical, isn't it? No, it wasn't. Because what happened was there was now a fight between HR department and medical department. HR said, wellness is with HR, illness is with medic. Medics say, illness and wellness is with medic. As a result, nothing happened. Both directors put their foot down. It's either I get it or nobody gets it. Now, these are the directors heading an organization with over 5,000 staff. So what am I saying? Even where you can influence, please, let's start this conversation. Ask, you supervise ministries, don't you? You supervise MDAs. Ask the chief executive, what is the mental health program you have for your staff? That is the beginning. For country directors, as much as you are also impacting people in war-torn areas, in places of distress, have you looked at the mental health packages for your own staff? I do not plan to stay here for too long because the program is long, but I just want to say to everyone, thank you very much for coming. We hope that will make a difference today. Let the conversation continue. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Once again, please can we give a resounding applause for the MD CEO of Intersect Consortium. Thank you so much, Dr. Vincent Udenze. Thank you. Thank you so much. And while the conversation was going on, somebody who's very important and very special to us as a country and to this conversation, most importantly, walked into the building. And at this point, ladies and gentlemen, I have this honor and this very rare privilege to welcome and recognize this morning the very distinguished presence of distinguished Senator Dr. Grace Bent. Please can we give a resounding applause as we welcome her. One of the Amazons leading and making sure that we have a great country. Thank you so much. We'd like to thank you for your presence in this place with us this morning. Thank you. I'm informed that we have the representative of Plan International. Please, if you're in the house, kindly let me know and we can bring you up very quickly. Plan.
John, okay.
All right, thank you. So distinguished ladies and gentlemen, at this point I'm going to bring on stage the chairman for this occasion, very important, the chairperson, the very important person who will be coming forward at this point to speak. And the special address this morning will be delivered this morning by our very own Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, please at this point I'm going to bring on stage the chairman for this event and the chairman, Senate Committee on Health of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Senator Dr. Harry Banigo. Please can we give her a round of applause as she comes forward. Keep clapping as she comes forward. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Working together, my dear stakeholders, we can mobilize resources, we can influence policies, and we can nation, community, and once again, I wish to commend the advocacy that is going on by the Intersect Consortium. I commend you what you're doing, and I congratulate you for having this continuous dialogue. And I assure you that as
Is he showing? Is he showing?
as joint health committee, health joint committee on health in the National Assembly, we will continue to support you as your legislative partners on this journey. Thank you for inviting us to this meeting. And takeaway is very important for us. Thank you.
Raise for Lashadi Ben, CON, please come. Thank you so much. All right, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, as we move on this morning, we're about to get to the point where we will step it up in our conversation this morning. And one of the things that we do as much as possible is to bring very critical issues around mental health in the country, around mental health across Africa and the rest of the world to the fore. And this morning, to push us further in this conversation, I'd like to take this time to welcome our keynote speaker, who will be coming forward to deliver the keynote address. And this morning or this afternoon, it is my very honor and the rare privilege that I have to bring on stage a thought leader and a great scholar, a very distinguished one at that. And he will be speaking this morning. He's someone who has been an advocate for mental well-being, and we're so honored to have him here with us. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together as I bring on stage our keynote speaker for the keynote address, Professor Taiwo Latif Sheikh, MBBS, MSc, FWACP, MSAT, GMH, Harvard. Ladies and gentlemen, please can we give him a resounding applause as he takes his time to greet people who are here and joins us on stage very shortly. We'd like to thank him. Thank you so much. As someone whose research and teachings and works have been very beneficial in the space of mental health. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
Good morning. I would like to stand on the existing protocol, but I want to specially recognize my mother, distinguished Senator Folashade Banks, who has contributed immensely to my life. I adverse experiences. For maternal well-being, mental health support is essential before and during pregnancy and postpartum period. Conditions like postpartum depression can have profound effects on both mother and child. Studies have shown that babies born of mothers who have postpartum depression go on later in life to develop very serious psychological problems. Not only that, they also tend to be more stunted in growth as compared to other children. So managing that is very critical for our own future as collectively as a country. Whereas in response to gender-based violence, mental health support is vital for survivors. Trauma-informed care and counseling can help individuals cope with the psychological impact of violence, supporting their recovery and resilience. Now, what are the strategies that we can undertake to address adolescents' mental health, maternal well-being, and response to gender-based violence? Thank you. Effective and sustainable mental health strategies that will address adolescent mental health, maternal well-being, and response to gender-based violence should be person-centered, community-based, and whole society approach. And when we say whole society approach, we start with person-centered. And a person-centered approach involves identification of persons in need and enhancing access to interventions both individually and as a group. And this, when we break it down, it includes adolescent health. Most adolescents are in school. So when we integrate mental health into school programs, this is going to really help our adolescents. So implementing mental health education and screening in schools can help identify and support adolescents with mental health issues. Mental health and high school curriculum guide is a resource that helps teachers integrate mental health education into their curriculum. We also do have youth-friendly mental health services, providing accessible, confidential, and non-judgmental mental health services that cater for the need of adolescents. We also have peer support groups. But very importantly, adolescents like keeping their secrets. They don't like exposing themselves. So it is important that we have interventions that actually respect the confidentiality of adolescents, increase accessibility without making noise about adolescents' mental health, and it must be non-judgmental. These can be delivered through technology-based interventions, such as crisis helplines for suicide prevention and mental health and psychosocial support that they can access from the private room of their homes, using things like phone calls, which can be toll-free, WhatsApp messages, SMS, Facebook, Instagram. These are things that adolescents will rather enjoy rather than taking the pain to walk to the hospital. You can do that to de-escalate adolescent mental health crisis and be able to also refer them to where they can get additional help. For maternal well-being, integrating mental health care services into all reproductive health programs is very essential. From normal gynecological consultations to antenatal care to postnatal care and so on and so forth is very important. Postpartum mental health screening is also important to be able to identify those who have issues. And then partner and family support is encouraged. For gender-based violence, trauma-informed care, providing care that acknowledges the trauma experienced by gender-based survivors and supports their safety and empowerment. Counseling and support services is crucial, and it's also important to recognize support groups, encourage them to blossom. Support groups are critical in addressing gender-based violence. And then safety, trustworthiness, peer support, collaboration, and empowerment are key principles of trauma-informed care, which we need to abide with. Now, we also have community-based approach. This is the area I want us to listen to very well. When we talk about community-based approaches, It involved building community awareness for adolescent mental health. Not many people believe that adolescents could have mental health challenges. Maternal well-being and response to gender-based violence is also important for us to build awareness. We do this through advocacy targeting community leaders. This approach will also seek to address culture-based myths, misconceptions, just like distinguished Senator, Chairman of the Senate Health Committee was saying about issues of stigma. And this is usually based on myths, misconceptions, stereotypes, and stigma. Other community-based cross-cutting strategies include integration of mental health services into primary care. We have piloted the integration of mental health into primary care in Kaduna State and Cross River State. And we have published it. We have shown that this thing can be done. And we have shown the advantages of integrating mental health into primary care in Nigeria. And I'm proud to stand here today to tell you that just last month, Kaduna State government has agreed to scale up the piloting that we did for Kaduna State. And we are so happy with that. There are community-based initiatives that can also help awareness about mental health and reduce stigma. And it is important that we train people through task shifting and task sharing. The gynecologist should be able to recognize symptoms of mental health condition while seeing a woman that is attending to or during antenatal care. That is what we mean by task sharing. Those who were not trained at all, like traditional bank attendants, are trained to be able to deliver safely. It didn't make them obstetricians. They are still traditional bank attendants. So primary health care workers, we can shift the task to them. It will not make them clinical psychologists, it will not make them psychiatric nurses, but they will still be able to help our people. Then in terms of whole society approach, this is for our policymakers. It's very important. I've been trying to see distinguished Senator Ebonyi for many, many months. And today God has actually brought me to her. I'll claim your indulgence, man, that I'll follow you from today. Because you are very important to me. You are very important to Nigeria. We have projects that we want you to please sign up. Nigeria. And our for you, man. You can understand. This bill is for Nigeria. It's not for shape. It's to protect our future. It's to improve our country. It's to make things better. It's a comprehensive suicide prevention bill that puts in place everything you need about suicide prevention and also go on to decriminalize attempted suicide. Please, can you move on? Yeah, no, yes.
Is it working?
What is our key message about the criminalization of suicide in Nigeria? Why must somebody go to jail because of a condition? Why someone that we need to help, we are now sending the person to jail? This law is not our law. The law is a colonial law. Those who brought that law to us have gone back to their countries and changed it. Britain brought the law to us. They have decriminalized suicide.
I'm telling you, okay.
Countries that are close to us, like Malaysia, Pakistan, Singapore, India, Ghana, have decriminalized attempted suicide. We remain one of the 25 countries in the world that still consider attempted suicide a crime.